You're tuned in to Oilers Nation every day with Tyler Yaremchuk, live every weekday on the Nation Network YouTube.
Three-game losing streak, rolling into Colorado to play the defending Stanley Cup champions. I'm sure everything will be just fine, right? Let's get into it with the lead. The lead is brought to you by Sports Closet. We are coming to you live from the Sports Closet studio. Check them out online, sportscloset.ca. Maybe you want to be like Jay and rock a Klim Kostin jersey. Sports Closet can hook you up. It is a Sherwood 4 Giant game day edition of the show. Happy Sunday, Oilers fans. We are streaming live on the Nation Network YouTube as well as on Facebook and Twitter. And the first comment of the day is going to the Canadad, who's saying a 6-4 win, which includes a power play goal and an empty netter. Yes, we'll be talking bets. We'll be talking about the big game today against the Colorado Avalanche. We'll also look back at that game against the New York Rangers and just exactly what the hell went wrong on Friday night. Also some trade talk as well. There is a lot to get to today on the show. There was also a trade today in the NHL, another trade over the weekend on Friday night. It's loaded up. So get active in the Nation Network YouTube chat and hammer that like button. It is a Sherwood 4 Giant game day, which means both Jay and Liam are around for the ride. And boys, let's go back to the game on Friday night against, Jay's enjoying a nice coffee on a Sunday morning. Seems very relaxing. Got the Klim Kostin jersey hung up.
The Oilers won.
Jay, what did you make of that loss on Friday? Frustrating?
I feel like it's like this weird karma from like last time the Rangers were in Edmonton. And it's just like the balancing out of the hockey ecosystem when it comes to, or the hockey juju. But nonetheless, disappointed that we blew a 4-1 lead and just let them back in it in the third. And then the fact that we can't figure it out in overtime again. And then in the shootout again, like some point the math is going to be on our side. And then also Leon Draisaitl. Why are you going full Danny Heatley all-star mode on the breakaway, especially when Shesterkin's like 10 feet outside of his net? What did you see?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm growing a little bit frustrated with big number 29 as of late, and that game was another example of it. Liam, what did you make of the Oilers blowing another lead on home ice? This team is just, I don't know, because during the losing skid in December and early January, this was an issue, right? Blowing leads to the Kraken and the Canucks.
Yeah, I thought we were kind of past that point of the season.
Yep.
The team had matured a little bit more where we weren't going to blow those leads. Like, you're going to blow leads every now and then, but when you're supposed to be a Stanley Cup contender, you can't be blowing 4-1 leads at home. I agree, like the overtime and shootout stuff, like I can forgive a shootout loss. Like it's kind of is what it is. It's just a skills competition. Yeah. But the overtime, like I just don't understand how this team can't get it done at that point anymore. But to be fair, it shouldn't have even got to that point. This game should have been over in 60 minutes. The Oilers should have been out on Saturday, Friday night, doing whatever they're going to do, celebrating a win. But instead, we're here talking about a 4-1 blown lead and how they're now going to beat the defending Stanley Cup champions, the Colorado Avalanche.
Yep, that's a good point. Electronic Jordan's in the chat, and it's his birthday. So happy birthday to Electronic Jordan. Diehard listener of the show. Original Puzar is in with his thoughts on the game. He says the Rangers game came with some bad breaks. One, first goal on a phantom power play call. Yeah. Second goal on a bad break. Not the Barry bounce, and the fourth goal on a 5-on-3 due to a mech call on Janmark over the glass. Like, okay, the phantom power play goal call on the first one, the ticky-tack call on Trocheck in front of the net when he just kind of like swiped at Campbell's stick. I don't know. I felt like that was a little bit weird. Like the stick was right in front of him. He's clearing it out, but it is a penalty. So I have a hard time like even complaining about the Janmark call, because I think the Janmark call, I hate that application of the puck over glass rule. If you whack the puck out of the air, you are clearly not intentionally trying to flip it over the glass to get a break. You're just trying to break up a pass, make a play. I don't like when they call that. The rule should be you have to shoot it out, not just randomly flip it off your stick. Like, it's just dumb. And it ended up costing the Oilers, but that first call on Trocheck is a big reason why they had a lead anyways to begin with. So that was a little bit frustrating. To me, it's another big thing that it's not even like they're just average in overtime now. Like, they are actively bad when the game goes past 60 minutes. And I think it's going to need like a strategy adjustment here. I'm with our guy, Brad Bay, who's been in the chat a lot over the last couple of days, kind of saying like, time to stop playing McDavid and Draisaitl together. It's probably time to stop putting Leon Draisaitl in the shootout if he doesn't want to, I don't want to say not put in any effort, but like really that's what you're going to do when the game's kind of on the line. You're going to walk in and take a slap shot. Like, I don't know, really frustrating to watch this team in overtime.
I don't mind for the first minute of overtime to go McDavid dry, but like to keep them on the ice together for 2 minutes, like start, like that's poor. I think, sure, let's try to wrap this up in 60 seconds, get them out there. And if they can't create anything, get one off, and then start doing the stagger with them. And then if they're rested and there's a minute left, bring them both on again as the nuclear deterrent to try to sew it up. Like, I don't disagree with the logic, but it's just how we deploy it and for how long.
Yeah.
I think that's my thing for it too, is I think you have to put Draisaitl and McDavid out there because they do give you the best chance to win statistically. They're the two highest scorers on the team. So why wouldn't you put them out there? But maybe it's just a different way to deploy it. Like maybe you start Draisaitl with Hyman or something and then somehow get like that lacrosse change and get McDavid out there. There's got to be like creative ways to get this team to grab a goal in overtime now. And for the shootout, like I thought it was really weird that Woodcroft went to the same 3 shooters that happened against Detroit when you didn't win the game. Like, I don't know. It just seems odd, especially
but Liam, and this is a knock, but not really knock, but like, who do we have that's got like shootout skills on the team? Like when I was thinking about like, who should they put up next? I'm like, who should they put out next?
Kane.
I think you go with
Kane. You don't think he's still struggling right now? Like getting used to his new hand in terms of how it feels. Like he's fighting the puck a little bit. Do you? I guess it was come in and shoot, but like then the goalie knows that.
That's what Draisaitl did. He just came in and shot.
Oh, maybe that was strategy. Like I agree though. Anyways, like I don't know.
Yeah, I mean you're not wrong in the sense of like who do you kind of put in there next, but maybe I think we said it on another show. You put in a guy who has no pressure on him. Like throw Ryan McLeod in there. He's just gonna skate as fast as he can and try and deke out the goalie with something quick and like something maybe unexpected that the goalie hasn't seen before. And maybe that's what they need to do. But like I said, hopefully they can just start getting games done in 60 minutes and we can just move away from the shootout.
Yeah. When they were up 4-1, I certainly wasn't sitting there thinking, they'll probably need the shootout to get the job done tonight. It'd be nice if they could just hold on and get the victory. Taking a look at what's going on in the YouTube chat. Cody says, why go with Barry in the shootout? I mean, I think we just kind of did that exercise. Quaddy says, use McLeod. I mean, there's a bunch of guys who are probably good at it, but I think the point kind of stands that McDavid, Nuge, and then who, because no one else has really been that great in that spot. It is a big game coming up today against the Colorado Avalanche as the Oilers are trying to snap out of a 3-game losing skid. The good news is the Avs played yesterday. The bad news is they're 4-2 this season. Yeah, but they're 4-2 this season when they play in the second half of back-to-back. So
yeah, but this one, what time did they play yesterday in St. Louis? Do we know the game time?
I think it was an afternoon game.
I know there's probably some NHLPA rule with time between games, but like the fact that they were in St. Louis yesterday and have to play an afternoon game in Colorado, you know, it's not like it's a 30-minute flight. It's probably a couple-hour flight. Like I don't know. We can talk about it later.
Yeah, another thing that's worth keeping an eye on for this game is that Cale Makar. It was his first game back yesterday since his concussion, if you want to call it that. I don't know if they officially called it a concussion, but then he got hit really hard and left the game again. So the Avs might be without Cale Makar. They're already without Gabriel Landeskog. So maybe they're a little bit banged up, but still, it's a really good hockey team in Colorado. So we'll see. They also started Justice Anunin yesterday between the pipes. So I believe they're saving Alexander Georgiev for today's game, the tougher game against the Edmonton Oilers. So it'll still be a really hard game, even though the Avs played yesterday, even though they're banged up. The other bad news is that everyone in front of the Oilers has decided to start winning again, right as Edmonton starts to lose. The Golden Knights are on a 5-game heater. The Kings are on a 4-game heater. Seattle's won 2 in a row as well. So at least the Oilers are getting points. Like I think it still is 12 of their last 13 games, they've picked up a point, which is good. That's keeping you in the fight. But when every team in front of you is just rattling off dubs left, right, and center, that's also not great.
Yeah, they're heating up too, right? All the teams are starting to heat up around us. We had our heater, made some great strides and climbed the ladder, and now, we've taken a step back, and they're not slowing down right now. So we have to, it's okay to go on a bit of a slide as long as we bounce back.
Yeah, you can see the side-by-side comp here for the Oilers and Avs this season. They've been struggling to score on the year as a whole. A big reason why they were missing McKinnon for a stretch. They haven't had Landeskog all year, and now they could be without Cale Makar for a little bit longer as well. Their penalty kill has struggled this year, just like the Oilers has as well. And the Oilers PK, I mean, that was my short four giant key to victory against the Rangers, was stay out of the box. Don't give them looks with the man advantage, and sure enough, the Oilers gave them plenty of looks with the man advantage and gave up 2 goals on 4 PK attempts. The rest of the week for the Edmonton Oilers, it is a very weird schedule for Edmonton because they're in Colorado today. They got to fly home and play Philly on Tuesday. Then they have to go on the road to play Pittsburgh and Columbus to finish off the week. So even though there's games against Philly, who has beaten you recently, and Columbus, 2 softer spots, they come with like a ton of travel around them. So I mean, it's big. I said this before the game against Detroit. It was like, hey, if the Oilers don't beat the Wings, like this has a chance to turn into a bit of an ugly slide. And I would say it's already there with 3 losses in a row, but you definitely don't want that skid to extend to 4 games at all. Taking a peek. What do we got going on in the chat? Let's talk some trade. Tyler Mott going to the New York Rangers today. Second straight deadline where the Rangers have acquired Tyler Mott. $1.35 million against the cap. They gave up Julien Gauthier and a 7th round pick to get him. That's a guy, I tweeted it this morning. Like, if the Sens would have kept 50%, I would have given up like a 5th rounder for him. At the end of the day, he has 3 goals on the season. He hasn't been that good. His analytics aren't that great either. But
he was your Erik Karlsson, Tyler.
Pardon?
He was your Erik Karlsson.
No, well, I tweeted, I was like, oh, like I'd be down for Tyler Mott, 50% retained for a late round pick, because at 1.3 million against the cap, if they were to keep half of it, he'd be below league minimum, right? So he's actually like a really nice cap asset to have if you could have got the Sens to keep 50%. And someone tweeted me and was like, oh, he sucks. Why would you want him? Or like, why would you want mediocre players? And I was like, well, because you can't just go into the deadline being like, only acquire superstars. Everyone else is a waste of time. Like, there is something to be said about the Oilers getting guys who can kill penalties, hurt them against the Rangers, and get players who play solid defensively, are tough to play against in your bottom 6. I don't know. He would have been a fine target.
With that. What do you think of the acquisition cost of O'Reilly and Achari?
Yeah, so let's talk about that, because we haven't had a show since that big move happened on Friday night. A 1st, a 2nd, a 3rd, and a 4th for Ryan O'Reilly, who got retained twice thanks to the Minnesota Wild, and Noel Achari. So I saw someone tweet this, and they were like, if the Leafs can go get O'Reilly, why can't the Oilers go get Erik Karlsson? And it's like, well, those are not even close to the same situation at all, because again, you can use the Minnesota Wild to retain O'Reilly down to a reasonable cap hit, and he's a rental. He's off your books at the end of the year, or you can look to re-sign him, whatever. It's a lot to give up. This probably tells you what the Blackhawks are going to want for Patrick Kane. Maybe it's even a Patrick Kane-Sam Lafferty combo, but if you want to get Patrick Kane and you want him retained down, it's probably going to cost you a 1st, a 2nd, and a 4th round pick.
Is that worth it? Because the real dollars isn't that much.
The Wild paid a 4th round pick to eat $78,000 of O'Reilly's contract.
Yeah, that's wild, actually.
Yeah,
that's good business by the Wild. Like that's a weird precedent. That should be a 6th rounder. That goes against the matrix that Frank had for us.
Yeah, it does kind of go against that a little bit. It's a bit of an overpay, I guess you could say, in the grand scheme of it, but that probably illustrates what the market's like. I'm sure they called other teams that
$78,000 in terms of a team that's spending to the cap. So like, Tyler, it's not apples to oranges, but apples to apples, but I wouldn't say it's apples to oranges either. It's probably apples to like a pear, something in the same family. So I still think, that idea and spirit of being creative can still be done for Erik Karlsson.
Well, no, not really, because he has 4 more years left on his deal, and teams aren't going to retain for 4 years on a player just for the sake of doing it. But it's comparable to Patrick Kane.
No. Let's unpack that. You've got a team like Arizona that isn't going to be a star in 4 years. So they could eat it, provided you're giving them a first round and a prospect, and the acquisition cost from San Jose, maybe they only eat 10 to 20%, which is their initial ask. And then you get another team for 4 years to eat half, but that's the team that gets paid. And then you liberate that contract from San Jose for a first rounder, as opposed to all the picks that they're asking for less retained. We just want Erik Karlsson at $7 million. That's the goal, right? 6.5, 7.
Sure.
Right. So would San Jose entertain, a first and a second or something to eat 10, 15% and have Karlsson off the books, and then have another team wash it through that's going through a rebuild that could take 4 years, that might not still need that salary cap. They need, prospect depth. So giving them a good prospect and then giving them a first rounder.
So you would give up the first in Borgo to Arizona to have them keep $2.5 million for the next 4 seasons, and then you'd give up a first Barry and Bouchard to San Jose to get Karlsson.
No. It changed the acquisition cost from San Jose because you're not getting them to eat as much. You're getting them to eat less. You're getting them to eat less, and then you're paying the team that's actually eating the bigger chunk what they need, because they can operate within a 4-year window of eating that salary, because they're a team they're going to be spending to the floor. They're going to be doing prospect development. They're going to be acquiring assets. Like, they're planning to be good in 5 years or in 4 years. It's possible.
I just don't think a team's going to step up and be like, yeah, sure, we'll pay $10 million for a late first round pick and a prospect. That's just so much to have to give up in this whole thing. I think it's more comparable to Patrick Kane, like I said. So would you give up, Liam, if the cost at the deadline for Kane is a first, a second, and a fourth, would you do it?
And do I get Lafferty as well?
If you throw in a third, you get Lafferty. So you can go first, second, third, fourth. You get Kane and Lafferty.
Different. I think it's different because I think. Sorry to jump in.
Okay.
Kane holds all the cards.
Yeah, sure.
Oh, you just trade me to Edmonton. I've talked to Duncan Keith. I can stay in his place. He's stocked his fridge full of beer for me. I am coming to Edmonton. So get the deal done.
I don't think I would give up a first for Patrick Kane, to be honest. I don't know if I would. I think I would rather. I don't know. It's hard to say. I think the Patrick Kane deal is more comparable to what Tarasenko went for than maybe the O'Reilly deal. I don't know, but O'Reilly's been kind of weird this season with his injuries, right? So maybe they're similar there. But I think the big thing in all of this is the Leafs didn't give up any top prospects to go and get Ryan O'Reilly. They had to obviously give up the picks, but there was nobody with big, no Borgo equivalent that they gave away to go and get a Ryan O'Reilly, which made them better. And Nola Chari, too, both very good players that are going to make them a better hockey team, quite frankly. So I think when we all throw out these trade proposals, I think the Karlsson one's a little bit different because of how big it needs to be. But the Oilers don't need to go and give up a Schaefer, a Borgo, or whoever that may be, right? I think there's other players in there that are more suitable for trades, I guess you could say. But no, to answer your question, I wouldn't give up a first round pick
if it's in a package with Lafferty, because you're getting a player that stays with you, so you kind of bump it up, and then you kind of reduces maybe the Lafferty portion of the acquisition. Like, maybe that's where you deploy it first if it's a Kane Lafferty situation.
Maybe, yeah, I guess that's, if it's both of them, it probably equates to more of that. But I don't know if I would give up a first and a second and a third or whatever it was. I feel like that's just a massive acquisition cost.
But would you do it for O'Reilly and Achari?
Is Ochari better than Lafferty?
No.
He's
a center, so maybe
would you do what the Leafs just did at that price?
I think I would have paid that for those two. I don't think the Oilers would have had much of a need for both O'Reilly and Achari, but if it was O'Reilly and Barbashev, I 100% would have done that. And yeah, I probably would have given it's wild to think
about that. Imagine we would have done that, because that was the acquisition cost. So then what is O'Reilly? He then becomes your second line center, and then you can push Draisaitl to the first line wing or second line wing.
I might agree. I think I might do what the Leafs just did for O'Reilly, just because of the way it slots into the Oilers lineup way better. The Oilers don't need Patrick Kane, really, right? He makes them better, obviously. Yeah, and he makes them way better, but O'Reilly, I think, does take them to that next level of of team, like put him in the upper echelon, I guess you could say, and it just balances everything out. You're able to move Draisaitl around a little bit more. So yeah, I think I would have given up what the Leafs did, especially with the prospects they gave up.
Yeah, and we still have some equity to go shop around and get a defenseman. So like, I guess like once again, like we can like I said, I'm excited about Karlsson, but like I know it's a long shot. And so if there's actual deals to be had that are realistic, like how come we're not in the conversation? Like the Leafs just pulled it off. Right?
I am getting a little, I don't know, not frustrated with Holland, but it's okay. When are you pulling the trigger here? Because maybe it's just because of all this stuff with the cap,
but the assets are going out the door. All the top tier assets are slowly coming off the market, right? You were a big Achari guy, gone.
Yeah, I like Achari. I think he would have been.
O'Reilly's the exact type of person we need.
But then when I brought up Achari last week, you just yelled at me and were like, "No, focus on Karlsson." So what if Holland's focusing on Karlsson and now he's losing out on all these other assets?
You wanted Achari, but I'd take Achari in a package deal with Ryan O'Reilly 100%. I do agree we need depth on the bottom six, but I want to be big whale hunting right now because we need like massive improvement in some areas, and that's what Karlsson is versus Achari. Achari's complementary. You got your big whale with O'Reilly. You got a nice complementary piece to give you some bottom six depth with Achari. Like, that's a great trade. Now Dubas is looking like a fucking genius, and that drives me nuts.
I'm going to push back a little because I saw a lot of people being like, Dubas is like, what a move, what a genius. He did sacrifice their entire draft class.
But the time is now. Everyone forgets that the time is now. Their time is now. If they can't get past the first round right now, then Matthews is gone. Like then you have to blow it up. So like they have to do these things.
I know they have to,
and they just added to it. And guarantee you, and this is a different scenario for O'Reilly was here versus in Toronto. He's an Ontario kid. You know, probably has that photo just like Tavares in the Leafs blanket. So like probably willing to stay after this. Like it is potentially a pure rental, but like guys made a shit ton of money. If they win this year or go really deep, like he might sign a hometown discount.
That happens. We saw it with.
And so if that happens, then who cares who you're drafting this year? Your core just like expanded and is even much stronger. So like I hate to sit here and applaud the Leafs, but like they're adding the pieces they need to go on a run, and we're just sitting here watching it all happen.
But my point is, it's not like Kyle Dubas robbed him blind. He gave it's a good deal. I applaud the deal. You're right. 100%. It's 100% what they need to do. But he gave up his entire draft class to do it. Like it's not like he. Okay, but let me finish my point before you cut me off. It's not like he pulled the wool over Doug Armstrong's eyes and robbed him and got O'Reilly for it. Like he gave up a ton to do it. And yes, that's good. That's what the Leafs should do. But everyone being like, what?
It's doing business. That's doing business.
Yeah, 100%. But I'm just saying it's not like it's some wizardry move that he did. Like he gave up a ton.
I'm not saying he's a wizard, but he has the fucking stones to go and do it. Really, like, oh my God, like I've got this team that's got like we're 90% there, and now I'm gonna go get the pieces to make us like 98 to 100% there. Like that's just like doing it, pushing it all in. That's what we've been saying for 2 years. We have a window right now. If we don't do it, we're gonna have a whole we're gonna have to think about blowing it up. But I don't even want to think about that. So we have to start doing these things. Who cares about the future if we don't have the same core in that future? We're talking about rebuilding a new core in that future, which we want to avoid entirely. So that's why I'm saying he just did it. He pulled the trigger. He looked at his roster. He made a deal. You're happy with the deal in terms of the acquisition cost. So like, how come we're not in the mix? These key pieces are moving around, and we're just sitting here watching. And all we hear is that we're talking to San Jose about Erik Karlsson. Like that's all we hear about. And that we might extend Puljujärvi now. Like we look so dumb right now.
There's still like 12 days until the deadline. It's way too early to be like,
who's out there? Who's needle movers? The needle movers are slowly going off the market. We need
Meyer, Chychrun. There's still 8 of Frank's top 10. So
okay, so Timo Meier. Can we get Timo Meier?
Probably not getting Timo Meier.
Well, exactly. We're not in a position to take Timo Meier unless it's a pure rental situation. That's the one thing that's interesting about Karlsson is that he stays.
He does, but I just don't. Yeah, they could still go out there and get Kane, Barbashev, and Shane Goss to spare and get 3 good pieces before the deadline. I'm just saying it's way too early to be like hitting the panic button.
There's another Tyson Barrie. We don't need another Tyson Barrie.
Okay, he's a puck mover. They want a puck mover.
Well, that's a shame because that's what Darnell North's supposed to be. That's what Tyson Barry's supposed to be, and kind of Bouchard or Bouchard's supposed to be our first pass guy. And we're still hunting.
Doesn't mean you can't look to add more puck movers just because you have a bunch.
Agreed, but if you're going like the Barry-esque level, if you're not going super in the deep end of Erik Karlsson, then the defenseman you acquire better be actually a good defenseman, and Gostisbehere is not that. We're weaker defensively if you bring him on, right?
Yeah,
probably.
Well, I don't mind the idea of Gostisbehere, but that means you got to let like Barry or Bouchard, or they're gone in some other transaction. But I think we want Barry. Room likes Barry. Contract's good. He's he's having for him defensively a good season. We can't have all of them. We can't have Bouchard, Barry, and Gostisbehere all in our defensive lineup.
If you want to, adding Karlsson is adding another puck mover as well. So
yeah, but it's a puck mover who can outskate his mistakes. He's a Scott Niedermayer.
Yeah.
Right. Then that's the difference, right? Where a Goss, those guys can't. That's I'm saying, you got to go that far end if you're gonna go puck moving, offensive focus guy, a guy that can beat the rush back and defend to some degree. His skating is such a strong suit. And he's moving these days, but I'm willing to move off of it. But what else are we doing? We're just letting if we pulled the O'Reilly Achari trade, I would be running up and down Jasper Ave, probably topless, with excitement. That's an awesome move. That is a roster you're bringing in amazing leadership, an amazing guy, and then some more depth, and someone who can also play in key moments and also be a rock star center. I just feel like we're sitting on our hands.
All right, we're going to table the trade talk here and get back into the Sherwood Ford Giant Game Day side of things for Sherwood Ford and their fantastic Ford service department. Just a few clicks away, sherwoodford.ca. More info in the description of today's episode. Aaron, could you flash up the Oilers lines for me? Because we have some news on the way things could look tonight. So you're looking at this right now. No Klim Kostin. He did not make the trip with the Oilers. Devin Shore has been recalled. As you know, the Oilers are running a lineup or a roster that is only 20 players. The downside of that is when you find out late that a player won't play, you got to play shorthanded. And the Oilers just announced that Evander Kane will not be playing tonight. He is day-to-day with an upper body injury. So you're looking at how the Oilers lined up against the Rangers here. You can take out Evander Kane. You can swap in Devin Shore. And it sounds like unless Vinny Desharnais made the trip and is eligible to be emergency recalled, no Klim Kostin, no Evander Kane. Devin Shore is there. Oilers are playing shorthanded 11-6-2 again tonight. So take this lineup in front of you, swap Kane for Shore, and that's how the Oilers are lining up against the Avs. That is not ideal.
Some might call it an upgrade. Not many, but I think for this, it's very alarming. This was kind of the whole worry, I guess, when we didn't have any more money left. Does this not kind of say maybe it is a good idea for the Oilers to move out one of those $3 million guys just so you could have a little bit more on the roster too? You don't want to get into these situations. We saw it with Vegas last season where they were tight some games, right? Some guys, They were way shorter than I think even one less skaters. So you don't want to get into that situation every night. I understand this probably that bug is going around the dressing room right now. So clearly that's it, but it's tough going into Colorado with a full healthier lineup, never mind one less player, especially when it's Evander Kane and also Klim Kostin, two guys who have brought a ton of character into this team over the last month and a half or so, however long it's been for both of them been in there. But yeah, it's going to be just a little bit more difficult tonight.
Aaron, give me the Colorado Avalanche and their lines for tonight because we have some news on the Avs as well. This is how their forward lineup looks. I expect that to stay the same as they take to the ice for warm-up, but Cale Makar not on the ice for Colorado. So that is an Avs blue line that is very banged up right now. As you can see, no Cale Makar means they're going to have to slide someone up, and Makar being added to a list that includes Eric Johnson and Josh Manson. So they're missing, and Bowen Byram's back. But still, with Makar, Manson, Johnson, they're missing half their blue line tonight. So that's maybe an area you can look to take advantage of them. Alexander Georgiev is going to get the start between the pipes for the Avs in this hockey game as well. Georgiev in his last 5 games has allowed 15 goals against. So he's basically averaging 3 goals against a game. Jack Campbell is going to get the start for the Edmonton Oilers. And honestly, I'm not sure if I'm 100% sold on this one. Pardon?
Is Skinner sick? What's going on?
Yeah, I mean, there was the thing where he wasn't on the bench for last game or whatever, right?
Was he really?
Yeah, I saw something about that Matt Berlin came and swapped him out. But Campbell's back-to-back games with 4 goals against for Jack Campbell, back-to-back losses for Jack Campbell. I would have been looking to get Stuart Skinner a start here, but maybe there is something to the fact that Skinner's just not 100% healthy. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe.
I am regretting making my bets at 9 a.m. with all this news that we're hearing.
Yeah.
Prepare to be 0-6.
Yeah. Let's get to our Betway game day bets here and flash those up. Once again, the Oilers lost, so none of us nailed our bets last game at all. I was a shot from Connor McDavid.
I hit everything for plus 400.
Okay, I have an argument to make.
Okay.
Are we counting early payouts?
What?
Because if that's the case, then we all would have won. No?
But did you hit early payout?
No. I think I did. It was 3 when you have a 3-goal lead. And wasn't it 4?
You know what? I think I could have done it for $5 less than the total. And I said, screw it, I'm riding.
May as well. So yeah, I don't know. Interesting.
Flash up our picks here, Aaron. We'll discuss these. I'm going to go just nice and simple. Zach Hyman over 3.5 shots. I like this bet, honestly, even more now that Evander Kane's out of the lineup, because I think that's just more ice time with the big guns for Zach Hyman. He's not been hitting this a lot. Back-to-back games where he missed, but he doesn't go 3 games in a row without hitting this very often. So I like going with Zach Hyman over 3.5 shots at a nice, clean, even money. Liam, what do you like?
Over 6.5 goals, which is, I think it'll just be a high-scoring game today because the Oilers are playing. That's what happens every time they play. And then if, like you just said, the Hyman thing kind of works, because they'll get more ice time and they'll lead on the big guns. And I think that kind of benefits Draisaitl a little bit more too, where, Kane's out. He's going to be looked upon to score a couple more points. So I'll go over 6.5 goals and Neon Leon to grab a couple and more.
Jay?
Well, you know what? Despite all this adversity, this is just one of those weird games that the Oilers are just going to win just because that's what the Oilers do. So Colorado played in St. Louis yesterday. I just found out half the Oilers lineup is out, but still, this is one of those situations where they're probably still going to win, and it's going to come off the back of McDavid. And me and Chalmers are now team decimal, so I am 275 to 1, 2.75 to 1, or $2.75, as my Aussie friends like to say when they're quoting decimal odds. So yeah, I need to win. And it's all off the back of me trying to manifest an Oilers victory. The reason I'm 0-6 is all coupled with the fact that I want the Oilers to win.
Yeah, we picked a bad time for you at least.
They're just going to win, and we're going to be like, oh, God, yeah, of course. Because we don't think we're going to do it because the lineup's been decimated. We're dressing 7 guys. But, sometimes in men's league, Tyler, when you're the short bench team, it just keeps you tighter, keeps you together, keeps you moving, right? It can be a momentum thing. So let's go with the short bench.
Davin was in the chat and said, you guys need to do a watch party. Well, if you head to nationgear.ca, the first thing you see when you go to nationgear.ca is our birthday party's coming up. It's our 15th anniversary party at the Pint downtown. You can get your tickets now, nationgear.ca, $20.07 with all of it going, it's in support of free play for kids. That ticket gets you into the Pint for our watch party. It gets you a swag bag as well and some other fun surprises. So it's going to be a lot of fun down at the Pint, March 18th. What?
A pre-purchase drink with your ticket as well?
There you go.
Get the momentum going for a night of celebration. And the Germans will be there, which is exciting.
Nationgear.ca is where you can get your tickets to our 15th birthday bash at the Pint downtown. Shout out to our friends at Betway again, 19 plus. Please play responsibly. The Oilers for whatever reason, come into this hockey game as favorites. The sports books don't want to give us any sort of juice betting on the Edmonton Oilers, but we'll see if they can get it done. Edmonton has their big guns. Colorado's missing. Again, Cale Makar, Josh Manson, Eric Johnson, Gabriel Landeskog. Like, the injuries have piled up a little bit here for the Avs, but obviously they still have Nathan McKinnon, who has 9 points in his last 5 games. They got Mikko Rantanen. A lot of good pieces on this Avalanche team. It's not going to be an easy out. Bob Stauffer's just passing along the actual lineup here for the Edmonton Oilers. Fogle with McDavid and Puljujarvi, Hyman with Draisaitl and Yamamoto, Janmark with Nugent-Hopkins and Derek Ryan, Shore with McLeod as the extras on the 4th line, Nurse with Ceci, Kulak with Barry, Broberg with Bouchard, Campbell starts between the pipes. I'm sure that forward group's just going to get ripped around, though. I don't expect the Oilers to have one consistent line that plays a ton together tonight.
Wow. That is comical, that first line.
Maybe that's just a strength for them, though. The fact of, like, hey, you don't know what's going to be coming over the boards next and all that kind of stuff, right? Like, could be anyone. I know
Bison
Colorado
King goal. Call it
but
right now. Bison King first goal. Because why not?
Why not? I mean, it's got the
We're
opportunity.
extending him anyways, right? You're going to bring that extension.
That's a weird rumor.
I kind of understand the logic of it, but like I just don't like. That's all like that's the only thing being linked to the Oilers right now is that we're thinking about extending Puljujarvi. It's like, what the hell is going on?
Super weird.
Oh, that's a great.
All right. Shout out to our friends at Sherwood Ford the Giant as well. It's been another Sherwood Ford Giant game day edition of the show. That is going to be a wrap. Oilers Avs puck drop is under 30 minutes away. Enjoy the game, everybody. We'll be back again, same time, noon Mountain, to break it all down tomorrow. Chat with you then.